Hello and welcome to the Reopen America podcast. This is Chris Nelson. It is May 25th, 2020, and I have got a very special guest today. It is Coral Springs Commissioner Joshua A. Simmons. Commissioner Simmons, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Chris. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You
And
are
hello,
welcome.
everyone.
Now, I want to just start right off the bat. I want to play this video that you put up on your Facebook page, and we'll go from there.
All right.
No one wants to tell. Also received another email, and maybe some of my commissioners did as well. So to the gentleman that ranted and raved about his liberty being infringed on and his constitutional rights being violated, I have a message to you and everyone else that has used that as a rallying cry during this time. I'm going to tell you to stop it. You do not get to monopolize the United States Constitution, and you don't get to conform it to your own selfish and personal reasons. The preamble talks about promoting the general welfare of its governed citizens. No one wants to harm businesses just as much as no one wants to see people die. All right? No one wants to tell people that they can't enjoy the parks that makes this city so beautiful. However, we also wanted to make sure that we mitigated the effects of COVID-19. You may not choose to believe in facts and science, but I do. Your sense of entitlement and selfishness and lack of care for your own countrymen is disgusting, and you should be ashamed of yourselves. We had an opportunity to come together as a nation, but some of you chose to remain divisive. We must be better for our posterior, our children, because I think they matter as well. And if you want to sue me, because I'm doing my job, because I care about people living and thriving and having an opportunity to secure all of the blessings of liberty in this country, then go right ahead and sue me.
Okay, so Commissioner Simmons.
Well, I would like to first let me say, I know it's posterity. I was a little caught up in the moment. I know I got dinged for that. I got
posterity, but it was funny.
I got dinged for that, but you know.
What exactly were you thinking when you made that video, and why did you delete it?
First, I'll say why I deleted it. I deleted it because I thought, after kind of thinking about it, and and I actually were responding to a lot of the emails and messages that I got from people. Again, I don't run from folks. I realized that my comments may have been overshadowing the reason for what spurred on, I guess, the people talking to us, which were the business owners who are hurting. And so I didn't want to take away from that. And I recognized that there were some business owners that thought my comments were directed to them, and that's not fair to them. And so I did delete that because of that, not because I was ashamed of my comments or anything like that. I think maybe my delivery was off. I let my passion speak through. But at the end of the day, the reason why I even said some of the stuff I said was, one, I felt like a lot of people were being rude to us, being disrespectful to us. When we're city commissioners, number one, our hands are tied by the state and by the county. And we can, if we want to, just do whatever it is that we want to do, but we could open up our city into some kind of legal repercussions. And when that happens, any money that's taken away from us has to somehow we have to put it back in. And so, my comments were just that I was a little frustrated because, one, people were being rude and mean to us and disrespectful to us, when all of us, especially me, do this because we actually care about people. And so if I'm made to feel that I don't, that I'm not caring for folks, or that I don't want to make sure people are okay or anything like that, it does bother me. And then, also at the same time, I know there are a number of reasons why people die. I know, the flu has killed folks. I know all that. I'm not here to compare, viruses and diseases and things like that. When people are losing their lives, I care about that. And I didn't want anyone in my city to die or anything like that from this virus. I know a lot of people were trying to say that I was a talking head and that I was spewing talking points and things like that. Not really. I can't stand the news. I don't watch the news anymore. I really don't. And so every morning, a lot of people don't know this, but every morning our city commission is on a call. Now, we're not talking to each other, so we're not violating sunshine, but we're on a call, and we listen to our medical experts here from Broward Health Coral Springs. And so I get all of my information, everything that's influencing our decisions that we can make at the city level is coming from medical experts. So I just kind of wanted to get that out there so people didn't think that I, was just another talking head or something like that. I'm 32 years old. I know all about the political parties and how they've not necessarily been fair to everybody. So I always try to approach it in a very middle of the road way.
Now, Commissioner Simmons, you talk about people being rude and mean to you. I mean, with all due respect, you are an elected official. You did put yourself in that position. And do you understand that there are people that are hurting in a serious, serious way, losing their shirts, losing their businesses, unable to feed their families, their dreams being thrown out the window, all over this virus that has affected less than 0.1% of the population? Do you understand the pain and suffering that has been inflicted on people from these shutdowns?
Right. So that's why I said I deleted the video, was because, I didn't want it to overshadow the fact that there are people hurting, there are people suffering. Granted, it could, as you said, it affected less than 1% of the population. At the end of the day, if I had a loss of life in my family because of this virus, I would be ultimately devastated. Right. And so, yes, I did put myself out there, and people can say whatever they want to say to me, and trust me, I've ignored a lot worse. I've ignored a lot worse, but it's just frustrating because, I really do care about people. And if I'm made to feel that I'm not, like, I'm doing something to intentionally hurt people or intentionally inflict pain upon people, then that starts to bother me, because I know my heart, that's not my heart. I'm not trying to intentionally hurt anyone or anybody or anything like that. As far as the business owners go, and the people that are losing their jobs and things like that, I instantly knew that was going to be a problem. And so from the moment that the governor started to say that we were going to do shutdowns, I started working to make sure that our waters, people's utilities weren't going to get shut off. We wanted to make sure that we had ways of trying to feed people, wanted to make sure that we could try to cover those gaps as much as possible. I wish as a city we could have been able to give financial resources to businesses. However, we recently just staved off almost a $20 million budget deficit. So our numbers were very lean in that category. And I know a lot of other cities use their CRAs to support businesses, but our CRA is only 1% of the city. There was no way we could support that. So it's not like, I know myself and other commissioners haven't been trying to fill in those gaps because we understood what was going on. So it's just, it was just frustrating to me. And I caught myself in a very frustrating moment because we really are trying to do everything we can to help people out during this time.
Now, I know the thing that really hit me in your video was when you talked about a sense of entitlement, selfishness, and lack of care for our own countrymen, and that being disgusting, and that this gentleman who sent you this email should be ashamed of himself. I know since this started, the word selfish, the word entitled has been said to me a lot, and said to a lot of my friends. And when I see the people that are in, like, my Reopen South Florida group that I'm a part of, and the people that are against the shutdown and what's going on, I don't see selfishness. I don't see entitlement. I don't see lack of care for countrymen. As a matter of fact, I see the exact opposite. I see people going out there, putting themselves on the line, and having a lot of people having their reputations destroyed, especially when in the beginnings of opposing the shutdown. And that's what hit me. Do you really consider people that want to get back to life and want to move forward and reopen the economy to be entitled, selfish, and not caring of our own countrymen?
Okay, so I will say no to that. To the way that you pose that question, I will say no. And the reason why I said what I said initially is because maybe I didn't hear enough from the entire group, right? I can only get what's being brought into me. And so when I start to see some of the stuff that's being said to me, I already said earlier is that, I know the numbers aren't as high as everyone expected, or doom and gloom as the media said and all this stuff like that, right? what I always come back to is the loss of life, right? And I get it. I know people die many different ways. You know, I've lost my father. I've lost best friends. I know people can die a myriad of ways, right? So for me, it was like the conversation shifted away from, from trying to make sure we keep people safe and keeping them together with their families to just complete the other side completely shifted to the other side as far as businesses being open. And it was like there was no more of like, it was like literally two separate sides, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, it wasn't like, concerns for businesses and concerns for, potential loss of life. And that's kind of where I was in that middle of that frustration of, it's like, okay, yes, we know we want businesses to open. We want people to be safe. I mean, even before I commissioned it, I put out a open letter to the city of Coral Springs that said, hey, businesses are opening, just still make sure you take care of yourself. And it wasn't me arguing against businesses opening. Never once have I said a negative thing about Governor DeSantis, and I'm a Democrat. Never once have I said a negative thing about Governor DeSantis or anything like that. I'm one of those people where I just let things kind of play itself out and, get in where I fit in, but I was just ultimately really frustrated by some of the language that was being thrown out there. And it's just kind of like, hey, people are, there are families that have had to bury loved ones, but can't even be near them. And so it's like that kind of care kind of overruled, my sense of calm or whatever I should have had in that comment.
I can understand that. I as well have posted things on social media that I have gone and deleted. I think anybody that the first person to say that they have never posted anything they wish they hadn't cast the first stone. And I did see your apology, and I believe it was heartfelt. And I think the important thing is to just know that the people that do oppose these shutdowns are not selfish people. They are people that are some of the most selfless people that I've ever met in my lives. And I want to say I do appreciate what you said about tattoo shops. I saw a post that you put up at why are certain businesses allowed to open, but why does it seem like they're discriminating against tattoo shops? But the blame I've seen you put onto Governor DeSantis. When I do research, I see that Governor DeSantis, as in with Palm Beach, seems totally open to the different counties opening what they want on their own timetable. What I see in Broward County is our county administrator, Bertha Henry, holding the reins to this. And when people like Mayor Dean Trantalis want to reopen gyms, I see the Broward County government blocking them. It seems like there is a blame game going on. And I don't look at party in this as far as this goes. I'm for whoever's going to do the right thing. Mayor Trantalis is a Democrat, and he's doing the right thing right now. Do you believe that the blame for businesses reopening right now, is it really because of Governor DeSantis, or is it because of the Broward County administration?
Right. So I don't like playing a blame game either. I mean, I wish more elected officials would actually just say, hey, I messed up and keep it moving. I wish that across the board more people would do that. So I didn't really put the blame on Governor DeSantis. So I had a tattoo shop owner reach out to me, and I actually did, I featured them during, my small business Saturdays, because I really am pro small business. If you actually look at my record, I really am pro small business, which is another reason why I was so frustrated, because I've done nothing but fight for businesses within City Hall. I did my research. I made some calls, and I talked to people about the county, talked to people at the state, and it was actually prohibited still by Governor DeSantis. And I'm not saying that to blame him. I'm not trying to. From what the research that was given to me, from what I was told, it was still Governor DeSantis that had prohibited tattoo shops. That's why I actually featured the Tampa Bay Times article and not South Florida article, because I wanted to make sure that people understood kind of like where this at. What's been really difficult during all of this is that a lot of people aren't understanding the levels of government and how each one works. And I'm not saying you don't, Chris.
I'm finding out more. I'm becoming more and more educated every day.
But it's it's, you know, the levels of this, it's just, it's so murky. And I think what happened was, and I hope we really, as a state, as a county, we all kind of come together after this and figure out how do we have better lines of communication and a better emergency plan that everyone can follow all at the same time. I think initially when everything started to happen, you know, Governor DeSantis kind of took the line of allowing counties to figure everything out for themselves, and they kind of like come back in. It was a lot of back and forth in the very outset. It would have been much easier, at least I know for me as a city official, if we all had just our general marching orders and everybody could follow the same thing all at the same time, so that there wouldn't be issues like this, so that it wouldn't be left to, you know, something be clearly defined so everyone knows what we're supposed to do in a situation like this. So I'm not playing the blame game. I just know what was told to me by the information I went to go look for when this issue was brought to me. So, and even with the whole gym thing, that kind of caught us all off guard because we have not ever discussed it as a commission. And then the day of the commission meeting, we're getting hit up, like dinged left and right. So I didn't even have time to ask questions or look into things or anything like that. You know, all I was getting was, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, and you know.
Now, I will put the blame where I believe it lies, and that is with the Broward County government, which has not allowed anybody to physically attend a single county commissioner meeting since mid-March. They say it's because of social distancing, and actually, I've been told by one of their officials, one of the security guards, that it's Governor DeSantis that is keeping people from going into these Broward County meetings. And I just find that hard to believe, seeing that in Palm Beach, what happened up there. You saw their county take back the reins. You saw them decide to move the county into phase one. And the way they did that was they sent a letter to Governor DeSantis, who immediately that day, literally at the meeting, he shows up like literally up the road and says, I've seen your request, go for it, go into phase one. Now in Palm Beach County, you've got tattoo shops open, you've got hair salons open, their beaches are open. Their beaches are now open without restrictions. But here in Broward County, we're seeing something different. We're seeing people being shut out of their government. We're seeing the beaches remaining closed and then them opening with no input from the public with these little restrictions and things like that. Let me ask you, Commissioner Simmons, do you think it's right what's going on now in Broward County government?
Well, you know, kind of back to my point what I said last time is like the lines of communication have not been strong between everybody, right? And so there are a lot of things that are happening at the county level that I'm just not aware of. So, you know, a lot
of us haven't been aware of it.
Well, you know, I'm not, and again, I'm not at the county commission. I can't speak, you know, for whatever they have going on down there. The only thing I will say is that when all of this kind of first started coming out, Broward County was one of the hotbeds in Florida. And so I'm not sure if everything that's happened after has been kind of more of reactionary because of how hot we were getting with the numbers. But other than that, Chris, I got to say, I can't really speak on the county level. I don't know what they have going on. All I know is I got elected to represent Coral Springs, and I want to make sure I take care of people in Coral Springs.
I hear you. And talking about Coral Springs, that would be your commission that you're part of, has set up a snitch portal to give people the opportunity to tattletale on businesses that are not following the CDC guidelines. Are you for that?
I'm not. I don't know if I'm for it or against it. I hope what it doesn't turn into is we are attacking businesses. I would hope that we have a line of communication with the business owners, and we can actually talk to them and work things out. I don't think we need to be sending in, you know, the code or, you know, police or anything like that to kind of like continue to agitate these businesses. However, I think if there is a concerned citizen that says, hey, something's not right, maybe we need to, you know, just say, hey, what's up? Like, we just need to communicate with folks. I say all the time, a little communication goes a very long way. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to make sure we keep everybody safe, because we also don't want businesses to have to shut down again for whatever reason. whether it's through the county or the state, or whether it's from something happening at their restaurant and the business owner choosing to shut down. We don't want any of that to happen. So I would hope that if there's something that goes in, if someone gets a call or anything like that, we're not just out harassing folks.
Okay. Well, it sounds to me like you support the reopening of businesses in Coral Springs, and I'd like to work with more officials and city city commissioners across all parties to help to get our county and get South Florida reopened. What do you believe you can do at this point to further that process and to get Broward County back up and running again?
That, continuing to, elected officials, we are represented by people at the county level as well and at the state level. And so, I've been in continued talks with state representatives and state senators, as well as the county commissions. And I got to tell you, Chris, none of us are actually like, we need to keep everybody shut down. We need to keep everybody down. I love going out. I love going to do things. Like, I live right by Coral Square Mall. Like, I miss being able to walk around the mall, right? Again, like I said earlier, it's just we wanted to make sure that we kept everyone safe. And now that we're at the point where we are reopening, we don't want to do anything more to further harm these businesses. We want to make sure that everyone is open and up and running, but also doing it in a safe way. Because again, we just want everybody to still be able to go home and be with their families and go out and enjoy the movies, or go out and enjoy the gyms, go out and enjoy restaurants, right? We want to make sure that that's there. So what we're doing is we're going to make sure that we're communicating with businesses, making sure that we're helping them. We're launching a program called Give Where You Live, where we're bringing in donations that we're going to send back out to help support businesses. So we're here at this point, and that's why I said I released that article or that open letter, about a week before that commission meeting, saying like, look, our businesses are opening back up. Just when you go out, take care of yourselves. Look out for yourselves, right? And, because to me, when I first started self-quarantining, just me personally, I felt like I was helping my next door neighbor. I was helping, my immunocompromised, friend down the street. Like, I was getting all these emails and messages from people that could not go outside. I've had groceries dropped off at people's doorsteps, so it was one of those things. So we're going to make sure that we try to help them as much as possible going forward. It's going to be a tough road. It's going to be tough for all of us. And I just really hope that we can all just stick together. That's really my biggest thing. I just want us to work together.
I love seeing people coming together, and that's absolutely what this is all about. Now with the masks, this has become a hot issue. You've got down in Dade County, which it's almost like a completely different universe down there. You've got the threat of armed security guards to take you out of stores for not wearing masks. I've got a video that posted on my Facebook right now. It's almost gotten to this extreme that it's turned into such a control issue. Do you support the individual's right to decide to wear a mask or not when they go shopping at a store?
Well, that's a tough one, right? Because at the end of the day, I think when you have medical experts saying that we should still have mask orders in place, and the reason being is to make sure that we keep the numbers low, then I have to support, a mask order. Do I support, people going to jail or anything like that? No, I don't think that's that necessary. If the private business owner wants to have someone removed from the premises, they have that right. The private business owner has that right to do that. But I guess at the end of the day, this thing, we just started getting lower numbers. And so I think what it is medical experts are cautioning or being as careful as possible not to have another resurgence kind of right after we're reopening. So I think that's one of those things where it's like we're trying to just taper off. I don't see us going through the whole summer with, a mask order in place. I don't think, I figured by August, a while ago, I figured by August we would be fully reopened. So I think that's just one of those things. Again, I take all my information from medical experts. We talk to them all the time. I don't watch the news. I'm not being informed by any of that stuff. I think it's just one of those things where we're being cautious, erring on the side of caution versus, that do I think people should be going to jail? That might be a little too much.
Especially with just something that's a CDC guideline, and it seems like there's a lot of bullying with that. And I do want to point out that there are medical experts on the other side that say that masks don't prevent anything from being transmitted, and also that there are health reasons why you shouldn't wear a mask, like
Well,
breathing in your own CO2. And
my fiance is pregnant, and so
congratulations.
thank you. It's very hard for her to wear a mask. So sometimes we will be in the store, and she have to like breathe real quick, and then put it back on. And so I get that, right? I know there are health reasons, and so it's just one of those things where I think we just got to take. I think they're just trying to taper off, and I really don't foresee it being something that's going to be there for more months or anything like that. I think it's just trying to at least taper off. Someone asked me, and I had a conversation in my community, and I was like, masks are going to be the last thing to go. I see it. That's going to be the last thing to go.
All right. Well, hopefully that will come sooner than later. Coral Springs Commissioner Joshua A. Simmons, thank you so much for joining me today. And I want to say I've watched some of the rest of your videos. I've seen some of your posts, and just the fact that you came on the show, you seem like a real decent, good man to me, and somebody that I would like to consider a friend.
Oh, I appreciate that. Listen, I try to tell people all the time, we're all human beings. We all make mistakes, and we all do things that we always aren't proud of. And so that's why I took the video back and put that other video out there, because I wanted people to know that, don't take that moment as me not caring about what people are feeling, because there are people hurting. And I've said that so much through all of this, and we have been fighting desperately to help those in need as we can during this time. So I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to kind of come on and talk about it.
Absolutely. And I want to say to everybody, happy Memorial Day.
Yes.
And thank you to all of our veterans who have served. And
my mom is in the Navy, so I'm supporting,
Awesome. Yeah. God bless her. And just have a great, happy, and safe Memorial Day today. This is Chris Nelson. You have been listening to the Reopen America podcast. You can hear this show on Apple, iTunes. You can also hear it on Google Podcasts and YouTube. And right here, as always, on Facebook. Commissioner Simmons, thank you for joining me.
Again.
And always keep up the fight to reopen America. This is Chris Nelson. Thanks for listening.